Okay, page 32. Okay. See that? I didn't realize what I was saying.
Could ask for Mashiach.
Okay, page 32. Which garments must you put tzitzis on, and which garments are you absolved? We'll see in a moment. There's a machloks in the Gemara when it says beged. The Torah speaks about a beged. Let's say, for instance, regarding the laws of leprosy, it says that if you find a discoloration on a beged, so you have to sequester it, and then you have to tear out the discoloration. You have to all kinds of laws. Is a beged limited to tzemer pishtim? Only if it's made of wool, and let's say it's made of some other material. Then that's not beged. Or despite it made of cotton, canvas, whatever it is, that's beged. So the Gemara, it's a machlokes in the Gemara. So for tzaras, for the leprosy regarding garments, it has to be made of wool and linen. It's made of another material, not. But the question is, throughout the Torah, when it says beged, does beged mean similar to tzaras? Meaning it's only if it's wool and linen, but if it's not woolen, you have no obligation to put tzitzis on it? Or do we say no? Beged means as long as it's woven, that's a beged, regardless of what material it's made of. Okay? This is important. It's wool of a sheep, llama wool, right? Regardless of the value, that's not the wool. The Torah says tzemer. Tzemer means tzemer chelim, sheep's wool. But any other material other than wool and linen, sheep's fleece, it's only rabbinical that you have to put tzitzis. So that you have to put, according to the Mechaber, tzitzis on a cotton arba canvas. It's rabbinical. Veish omrim the kul chayim d'oraisa. Regardless of what it's made of, the material, there's a chiv d'oraisa. There's Torah obligation to put tzitzis on that garment. V'achi yils, that's what we rule. Whether it's made of wool, whether it's made of linen or cotton or rayon or whatever it may be, it's a Torah obligation. You have to put tzitzis. But the Mechaber rules not this way. See, the Mishna Berura is going to say that you should be machmir, that if you could afford wool, you should buy a woolen garment, because then you'll see, according to all the positions, even the Mechaber, because the Mechaber says no, the Torah obligation is only if it's wool and linen. Let's see, Elo, you learn from the Goyim, from Tzaras, the Poret Bey HaKos of Tzerim Pishtin, by Tzaras says specifically if the garment's made of wool and linen. Ach kol mok techsiv bobeged, hakavora mitzerim pishtim. Therefore, we draw up. Rabbi Shmuel learns just as it says beged, but regarding tzaras, it means specifically wool or linen. Identically, throughout Torah, when it says beged, it means of a similar makeup. Rechelim o elim zechorim, it could be goat. Avo shar kol minim, goat tzemer gemalim v'nutza shalizim. It says there, if it's, let's say, camel's wool or goat's hair, v'shirayim v'tzemer anovim, wool from a rabbit's hair. Chen kanvus, it's made of canvas. Chol chay gavno, einu b'chlal tzemer pishtim, ve'einu chayovim b'tzitzis rak midrabanan. V'tzemer rochel baseis. What about if you crossbred a sheep and a goat? Yeah, a sheep and a goat. So the question is the lineage, the pedigree. Is it a sheep or is it a goat? This is the Gemara. It's a choshel zerav. Okay, a goat impregnates a sheep. So now it's a crossbreed. Is that classified as sheep or is that classified as a goat? Classified as sheep, so the fleece you're obligated to put tzitzis on a Torah level. If it's classified as a goat, it's only drabonon. Then the wool is not considered sheep's wool, and on Torah level you're not obligated. It's interesting. The halacha is, what happens if you want to put cotton tzitzis, which they don't manufacture, on a cotton garment, or yotze. Cotton on cotton. What about if you want to put rayon on cotton, you're not yotzei. If it's wool or linen, you want to put on any type of garment, the halacha is yotzei. Because it's tzemru pishtim yachid, it's tzemri. If it's wool or linen, that covers regardless of what the garment's made, that meets the criteria of tzitzis. But if it's not wool or linen, then it has to be, because it says min konof, it has to be the same material of the corner, of the garment itself. Then it has to be made of linen, cotton, or rayon, whatever the garment's made of. Says but if it's sheep's wool, o pishton, shetrofen b'shaminim aslil basaruba. Then you go after the majority. Let's say you have a garment, 80% linen, 20% cotton. Okay, and you want to put cotton tzitzis on that garment. You're not yotzei, because he says you go after the majority. Whatever the majority of the material is, that's classified as that type of garment. Okay. As libasaruba imarovu mitzemru pishtim tchad min haTorah vim lav. But if the majority is not the material, the species which a Torah obligates, midrabanan v'dafkim torofon v'tovin v'osvei beged. That's only if it's all intermingled. Avodim ashesi mitzemer o mipishtim va'erev misharminim o ipcho echayev ledezu rak midrabanan. Interesting. What about you have the warp and the woof? You know, one direction it's wool, and the other direction it's cotton. It's not in the same direction. It's a mixture of wool and linen. Then he says, then you will be determined by majority. But if because a garment is woven in both directions, what they call the warp and the woof. So therefore, if one direction is one, the other direction is the other, it's neither. That's not a woolen garment. But if it's intermingled, that in each direction, it's a combination of wool and linen. So then that's determined by majority. If the majority is wool, that's wool. If it's not, then it's not wool. Rabbinical, you shouldn't do it. Today we don't wear such a thing because it's Shabbos. We'd have tchelis. It's no question. At nighttime, if you wear it, we don't. You're not permitted.
And the other way around?
Also not.
So either way.
Either way, we don't have that.
Our tzitzis are all wool.
Today they only manufacture wool tzitzis. But years ago, I mean, they had the what's his name? You know, they used to have the shul talisim, not shul talisim, shul. They're silk. The strings.
Yeah.
First, it wasn't silk. They were made of rayon at one time. The talis was rayon, and the tzitzis were rayon, or silk. The talis was silk. The tzitzis were made of silk. Remember those tzitzis? The blue. Al still has the bar mitzvah picture in his credenza, right? Yeah. Yeah, exactly. A garment is if it's the warp and the woof. Okay. So the Chaber says if it's made of the garment's made of anything but wool or linen, the obligation of the tzitz is only rabbinical. So what difference does it make? But one is obligated to say the bracha in either case. You know, it's like people ask, is it rabbinical or is it a Torah obligation? Well, you're obligated either way. So what does the Mechaber have to go out of his way to say? Even if it's made of another species, then it's rabbinical. But either way, you say a bracha. There's no halachic difference. Whether it's Doraisi say the same bracha, l'sati petzitzis or al mitzvah tzitzis. There are halachic differences. If the Yosef Roy lasses beged shu yotze min Torah, if you have a choice in terms of fulfilling a mitzvah on a Torah level, rabbinical level, you have a choice to buy a wool garment or a cotton garment. What should you buy? That's firstly, so you should know what the Torah obligation is, what's rabbinical. Beis im sarv lo tzitzis tfuyin lishmon bishlo lishmon vein lo tzitzis acherim. He says, let's say the tzitzis themselves were spun, tzitzis have to be made lishma. For the sake of the mitzvah, let's say it was you had tzitzis which were mixed, spun, lishman lo lishman. So no, what do you normally say? It's just safik d'oraisa, safik d'oraisa l'chumra. If it's only rabbinical, you say safik d'rabbanan l'kula. Correct? That would be a difference. If it's a wool garment, you couldn't use those strings because it's a Torah obligation to put strings. It's safik d'oraisa l'chumra. You couldn't use any of the strings.
A wool garment.
A wool garment, you have to put tzitzis on a Torah level.
Right.
So if, let's say the string you may be putting on was not spun lishma for the sake of the tzitzis. So then you're wearing a garment without tzitzis. But if it's only rabbinical, on the Torah you're not obligated. As long as there's a chance that it is, that's sufficient.
So if it's not a wool garment,
If it's not wool or linen, we'll discuss it. Because it's davish b'minyan. Strings, each one has chashivos, so you don't go after rov. Okay?
You can't wear a linen talis with the woolen.
Strings though.
So they never make
No such thing.
now
No, no.
with linen.
Correct. What? So therefore, it's not simple. It's not simple. It's no worse than a blanket you sleep with. Forget about the blanket throw. What about? So you have to say that because you're relying on, it's a beged laila. It's a night garment. That's what you have to rely on. Unless you round off the corners, that's what you have to rely on. That's determined. Is a day garment or a night garment? So most blanket throws at night. It's cold. And towards the evening, so it's a night. It's classified as a night garment. But other than that, you'd have to put tzitzis on it. Covering is wearing. What?
You have to cover your back, right?
You cover your body. You're lying. First of all, you do.
Depends on how you lie.
What do you mean? Like the majority of your body's covered because your back is touching the mattress. You're still covered. Okay.
Like there is a shop that they go to, which you have to be very careful.
That's separate.
There is a miniature garment manufacturer, H&M, Swedish, and they have stores all over the world. It's one of the largest banks. They come up with now with a it looks like a talus. Okay. With the stripes and everything. Let me write that down.
Okay. Does it come with a sombrero? Okay. Okay, base.
No, but they're going to have to see a lacha on it.
What, they put tzitzis on it too for you?
Yes.
Can't count. They have some Chinaman in China putting tzitzis on it. Okay.
Who's he hanging out with?
Robbie hasn't been here for 2 weeks. Okay, now you know what the story is. Okay, let's see. Gimel. This is an honor of Elliot being here this morning. Okay. Gimel. So that's what he says. In the Sarv Tzitzis Tfuim, he says, Sheishlu Sovik al Beged, Hu Chai B'Tzitzis, Dimu Drabon, Sveik Drabon L'Kula. So you're able to take those strings, although there's a chance they were not made Lishmo, and put it on that garment, because it's only rabbinical. Gimel, Im Yoshi B'Tzibur, V'Nifsak Echub Tzitziyose B'Chol. Interesting. Remember we mentioned on Shabbos, the person sitting, and he realizes Tzitzis Apostle. Even if you're wearing a wool talus. You're permitted to remain there for covered abrius, not to be embarrassed, to wear the wool talus. Because we mentioned, because the obligation is not to wear a four-cornered garment with tzitzis. When you're wearing it to make the tzitzis, to tie the tzitzis onto the talus. Shabbos you're not permitted, Yom Tov you're not permitted. But what about during the weekday? You'd have a similar situation. Covered abrios. Everybody in Shul has a talus, and you realize that tzitzis are apostle during the week. If it's a doraisa, covered abrios is not an overriding factor, because you have an obligation to make the tzitzis. But if it's only rabbinical, then covered abrius comes into play. It's like the Gemara says we had in Shabbos, if a person does his bodily functions on Shabbos, and he has to take stones to clean himself, although the stones are muktzah, he's permitted, because that's covered abrios. So if the base of the obligation to wear the talus is purely rabbinical, and if you're the only one sitting without talus, you'd be embarrassed, you're permitted to wear the talus, although it's four-cornered, although it doesn't have tzitzis, because it's covered abrios.
Give it a shot in this garment.
No shatnez, no raisa.
I'm saying, if it was shatnez and you realized it was shatnez.
Gemara, it's a raisa. Even if you're in a public, you have to undress.
Right.
Of course, it's not.
Yeah.
Right.
You have to take that off.
That would be similar to the talus during the week. A wool talus during the week, you have to take it off. You're not permitted to wear it.
If you put on the tzitzis that were in Suffolk, whether they were Bishma or not, you don't make a bracha.
Suffolk brachos logan. Correct. So he says, Dimu Drabona yesh l'umad covered abrius dochet Drabonon ve'enu mechuyev takef lifsho taliso. Covered abrius, you're not obligated to remove the talus immediately. Ein sim yud gimel od nafkamina harbe ein prima godim. Okay, so that's the Mechaber. Mechaber says, what species of material are you obligated to see the wool or linen? Any other material, rabbinical. Rav Moshe has a tshuva many years ago in the 50s. They made talis cotton out of nylon. Remember, they used to have nylon shirts. But nylon then was made differently. It wasn't spun. It was literally, it was like liquid. It was like a liquid process. So Rav Moshe over there has a tshuva to show you're not obligated to put tzitzis. Because a garment, regardless if what you hold, whether it's wool, linen, or any other species, it has to be woven. It has to have a warp and a woof. If it doesn't have that, it's not a beged. So he shows over there, therefore you're not obligated to put tzitzis on that kind of linen garment, on that nylon garment. Today, I think today the process is the same. They spin it the way, it's woven as any other garment's woven.
We were talking about a poncho, like a plastic poncho.
No, you're not obligated. Plastic, no. Plastic, you don't have to. Not that whatsoever. We're going to have later. Later, we'll talk about a leather garment. You have a four-corner leather garment.
Also not spun.
You're not.
Right.
It's not because it's not a beged, even though it's leather, right? Again, yeah, it has to be woven. It's not woven. It's not. That's not called beged regarding this halacha. Yesh omim the kulu.
That's how we hold. Right?
That's what we will see. The Mechaber speaks about this. The kulu. The Ramo says, regardless of what the material is, it's a Torah obligation. You have to put on tzitzis. Poskim kerova. We rule the Rav. There's Rav's opinion in the Gemara. The Rava asks a contradiction of Psukim. Ksiv al tzitzis hakonov. So the tzitzis have to be the same material as the konov, as the corner. Mashmin konov pirush afilu eno shel tzemer pishtim. Regardless of what it's made of, whatever the corner is, that's what the tzitzis have to be made of, which indicates even it's not limited to wool and linen. Kol moki tzitzis min abeged ksiv lo sil b'shatnis semro pishtim yachtov gdil tasloch mehem hoketzad. So what? But yet it says regarding tzitzis as semro pishtim, wool and linen. So in that Gemara, Rav answers. Semro pishtim pochim bein b'minon bein shalom b'minon. If the tzitzis are made of wool or linen, regardless of what the garment's made of, it's covered. It covers the tzitzis that is necessary for that garment. Shar minim, but if it's made of some other material, the tzitzis, b'mina pocha shel b'mina pocha. As I said, you have a linen, or you have a cotton tzitzis. Cotton tzitzis you can only put on a cotton garment. Although cotton garment on a Torah level you have to put tzitzis according to Rava, but the only species which would cover it, material which cover it, has made of the same. But if it's wool or linen, that covers every type of garment. That's what the Torah is singling out. Wool and linen, regardless of what the garment's made of, that's considered, it qualifies to be the tzitzis. But any other material, only for its own garment, not for another garment, meaning for another type of material. The Ramo rules like Rava. Now, this is very important. The Rama says, and this is the halacha. Now the Virei Shemaim Yachmer Atzmo. He says the persons of Yorei Shemaim should be machmir regarding lochush l'dei rishona. Should take the first opinion into account, the mechaber. V'yasetal shel tzemer k'dei sheyischai b'tzitzis min haTorah kuli alma. You should try to fill the mitzvah that it should be unquestioned that you're filling the mitzvah on a Torah level. V'nochet sheyaseh bein b'hatalus godol u'beitalus kon shel tzemer. And he goes to qualify what he means. The person, well, I wear a wool talus for davening. So at least I do it once a day or that period of time. He says, no, the correct thing is for the Yorei Shemaim, not only the large talus, but even talus koton should be made of wool to fulfill this on a Torah, So I always tell over the story, my Shiva used to say over, during World War I, people literally were starving. And my Shiva saved up a few kopecks to buy a woolen talus cotton. He was only 14, 15, 16 years old at the time. And he was very close to the Alta Slobodka. And he prided himself. Here he could have used the money for something else. And he goes to the Alta and says, I bought a talus cotton made of wool because the Chofetz Chaim says, Yorei Shemaim nochal ma'achmir. So the Alta says to him, you're a fool. People are starving. You should have taken the kopecks and bought bread. When you're buying the talus, Should have bought bread. That was his commentary. So Rosh Hashiva says, if he would have told me he bought bread, he says, you're a fool. You had an opportunity to buy a talus cut, you go buy bread. Meaning, the Alter, the way he trained them to think, you could see things in many guises. Just because you see it this way, there's another way to see it. It's true. He did the right thing in terms, but you realize when you make a decision, you have to consider many other things before you make your final. Did you even consider that? When he bought, he never even considered that. But you do have to consider other things before you make your final decision. That's the point he wanted to bring out.
But evidently he was not starving. He was starving.
No question. Of course.
Starve.
Sacrifice.